Okay, welcome back. This is episode 9. Since last we've been together, it's been a while, I'm sorry. As you may recall from the last one, I may have mentioned that I had my knee replaced, so that was the reason for the gap, plus all sorts of shit were going on. And since the last time, I've now had a kidney taken. I donated it. It wasn't just taken, I actually gave it up willingly. And so that put me a little behind, and also a lot of shit's been going on. And also since last we met, I've had a birthday. I am now 63. I was born in 63 and I am 63. And one of the cool things for my birthday, I got a real Batmobile. Well, a toy of the real Batmobile. And it lights up. And the doors open. The hood opens. The trunk opens, but it's, oh, the trunk opens, there we go. But that is not why we're talking today. It's not about my birthday, it's not about my kidney, it's not about the Batmobile. It is about two things, the Iran war and midterms. It's always going to be about the midterms, so it's always the midterms and something else. So we're going to start with the something else first, being the Iran war. I don't want to get too deep into it because there is a lot to it, and you guys don't watch this whole video anyway. So, the Iran war in a quick nutshell, if you go back to 2015, Obama put together an agreement with Iran to halt their nuclear weapons program. It is called the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Not a great name, but whatever. It was a pretty good plan. Because of that plan, Iran went from having a bunch of refined uranium to having no refined uranium. They went from having centrifuges that could make refined uranium to having no centrifuges that could make refined uranium. And we had inspectors. We had lots of inspectors from many countries. Why many countries? Because the agreement included 6 other nations besides us and Iran. There was China and Germany and Russia and the UK and the European Union, and did I say Germany? There are 6. On the screen I put all 6. Anyway, so we had this. But the Republicans were of the mind that anything a Democrat does is bad, even if it protects the world. So in 2018, Trump comes in and he says, well, this deal sucks, so know what we're going to do? We're going to trash that deal, we're going to throw it out, and we're going to replace it with nothing at all. We're just going to do jack shit and let the Iranians do whatever they want for the next 18 so many years. So what did the Iranians do during that time? Well, they did whatever they wanted. They went from 0 enriched uranium to 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium. Now, 60% is not weapons grade, but it is damn close to weapons grade, because for nuclear power plants, they needed 3%. Now they're up to 60%. So there's only one thing they're up to. So when they get to 90%, that's weapons grade. They were almost there. And they had 3 centrifuges that could make weapons grade uranium. So in 2025, we had to bomb them. And I'll concede that probably bombing them in 2025 was a good idea. But the reason we had to bomb them, the real reason we had to bomb them, was Donald Trump. It was absolutely, positively his fault. We had a plan. Iran had stopped their weapons program, but he decided that we needed to have no plan and let them continue. So 2025, we bombed them. But it was an effective bombing. The uranium was either destroyed or buried. The centrifuges were destroyed and buried. And all the intelligence agencies said, yes, Iran has been set back many, many years on their weapons program. They are no imminent threat. Okay. So maybe during this time we could come up with another diplomatic deal. We can work back on the sanctions and say, hey, we can give you your billions of dollars back if you'll sign up on another agreement, and we'll work something out. Sure. Well, 2026 rolls around and Trump is having a problem with Epstein and the ballroom and other financial scandals, Bitcoin and things like that. Oh, and his family has invested heavily in weapons manufacturers. So why not bomb somebody? I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. Israel talked him into it. Let's go start a war with Iran. So he said, hey, they're going to bomb us tomorrow, even though they have no bombs, even though every intelligence agency says they have no bombs. He says they're going to bomb us tomorrow, we're going to bomb them today. And the president does have emergency powers that he can go bomb somebody if there's an emergency declared. And who declares the emergency? Well, the president declares the emergency. So he declared an emergency, he bombs Iran. Now, there is a program in place, there is a mechanism in place to stop presidents from just bombing people willy-nilly. After 60 days, or within 60 days, he has to go to Congress and make his case to continue bombing somebody. And Congress has a responsibility within those 60 days to step in and make a decision whether or not to allow the bombing to continue. Congress is one who allows whether or not the bombing continues. Nobody else but Congress decides if we're allowed to continue bombing after 60 days. It's been 100 days, and Congress has been twiddling its thumbs. They finally put through a war resolution in the Senate, and they, much later, the representatives put together a war resolution. But of course, they're not the exact same resolution, so now they got to get together and talk about the resolution for a little while and do things and stuff and whatever. Meanwhile, the illegal war continues. And what has this war yielded us so far? Well, it has cost us $26 billion. We have exposed our vulnerabilities, and we have depleted our weapon stockpile significantly. And I really do mean significantly. According to many reports, it's going to take us years to build back up to where we were. And all those same reports say that we didn't have enough then for what may be coming down the road, say with, China. So we are seriously low on weapons. We are having to pull weapons from other stockpiles and from other facilities around the world to keep this all going. And we have shown that although we have the best military in the world, I do believe this, we are not magic. They are not magic. There are real bombs and real consequences, and the Strait of Hormuz is a real tight little spot. So our aircraft carriers can't just go cruising up and down there without some trouble. We cannot just wave our magic wand and make this problem go away. We have proven that, which has emboldened Iran. At this point, we are not negotiating from a position of strength, but more of a position of stalemate. And Trump continues to make grandiose threats that he cannot fulfill and ends up having to back off from. And just 6 days ago, Iran walked away from the negotiating table, and just today, they bombed Israel. They are not desperate to make a deal. They are not backing down. Speaking of negotiations, it should be noted that prior to the war, Trump demanded that Iran come to the negotiating table and talk about their nuclear stockpile. And prior to the war, Iran agreed in principle to give up that nuclear stockpile in exchange for the sanctions relief and stuff like that. While negotiations were going on and progress was being made, Trump gave the order to start the war. So now the position we're in, Trump will be very, very lucky if he can negotiate and achieve a fraction of what Obama was able to put together in 2015. Oh, and our allies will not come to our aid. Why? Because it is our mess. This is not an Article 5 situation. We started this war unprovoked. This is all our fault. This is all our problem. And the rest of the world knows very clearly what will happen if any one of them steps in to help. Trump will run away and leave them holding the bag. So as long as they don't step in, he has to stay, and he has to clean up his own mess for once. So we'll see where that gets us. Also, it bears noting that I mentioned China a minute ago. Trump went to China for the big summit negotiation thing and came back virtually empty-handed. He came back embarrassed. China met with Russia right after meeting with Trump, gave Putin a much warmer reception, and actually badmouthed Trump quite a bit. While Trump was in China, he refused to commit to the defense of Taiwan. Every other president before him has absolutely committed to the defense of Taiwan. If China were to invade Taiwan, we will intervene. He said, maybe, could be, not sure, we'll see. Not good. Also, there is a $14 billion military package that has already been approved for Taiwan that now Trump is holding up. And he said this is why he's holding it up. He is holding it up as a bargaining chip with China. It's a bargaining chip with China. That can only mean one thing. Hey, China, if you don't give us what we want, we'll give Taiwan $14 billion. If you do give us what we want, we'll screw over Taiwan and keep the $14 billion. This is history repeating itself really, really close together. This is exactly what he did to the Ukraine. We were defending Ukraine, we were funding Ukraine, and he wanted something politically, so he started pulling funding from Ukraine. He started publicly saying, I don't care if we defend Ukraine or not. And what happened to Ukraine? Well, you may have heard, Russia invaded Ukraine. So now he's doing the exact same thing to Taiwan with China. Stuff's going to go down. So, what can we do about all this? Well, there is actually a glimmer of hope with these midterms coming up. I think the House of Representatives has a pretty good shot of being turned. That alone will do a lot to slow down Trump. Unfortunately, he filed a lot of executive orders, and if the Congress doesn't band together, his executive orders just go on their merry way. So we need to get the Senate as well. What is going on in Congress right now? Well, a whole bunch of congressmen and senators are retiring. So they have nothing to lose in doing the right thing. And some of them are starting to make a lot of noise. They're making noise against his slush fund. They're making noise against this war. They're making noise against his just overreach and money grabbing. And we've had some Republican senators who have lost their primaries. As of today, there are 3, and they are part of what the news is now starting to call the YOLO group. You only live once. These are senators who now have nothing to lose by doing the right thing. They were only sucking up to Trump because they wanted to keep their jobs, and now their jobs are gone, especially my Senator Cornyn. All he was doing was sucking up to keep his job. He didn't really like Trump. He was really trying not to align himself with Trump. But when Trump got the nomination, he had nothing that he could do, so because he's a coward. So he started sucking up to Trump. But Trump turned his back on him in the primary, and now Cornyn has the opportunity to grow a spine and do something over the next 7 months. And all these other senators and congressmen have a chance to do something over the next 7 months. So what we need to do, you and I, is lean on all of these senators and congressmen. How can you lean on all of them? Well, if any of them are your congressman or senator, you can email them directly and make your voice heard. And something that you can do that has even more impact is calling them on the phone or writing them a letter, because then someone has to deal with your input. If it's a letter, they have to physically touch it, they have to read it, they have to file it, they have to categorize it somehow. If you call them, someone has to listen to your message and then categorize it and present it to their senator or congressman, whoever they're working for. So that gives them some trouble. We like giving them some trouble. And in preparing this, I was kind of concerned that, damn, that's a lot of addresses, because I wanted to give you the full list of who's retiring and all that. By the way, here is the full list of who's retiring and who's lost their primary. And when I looked at that list, I thought, you know, that's a lot of addresses. If I want to give you the address, the actual mailing address and the actual phone number to contact all of these, that's going to take me a while to figure it all out. I was wrong. Did you know, I did not, did you know that all of the senators have the same mailing address? When you look them up on their website, they have individual addresses. But you can send a letter to this address with your senator's name on it, or the senator that you want to send a letter to. It doesn't have to be yours. Put a senator's name at the top of this and put it to this address, and it goes to a central place, and it'll get distributed to the appropriate senator. How cool is that? And the congressmen, the representatives, have the same thing. Here's their address. Put a congressman's name at the top of this, at this address, and it will get to them. And there's something else that's really cool. I did not know this either. Did you know this? I did not know this. They all have the same freaking phone number. All of them. Call this phone number It is the Congress switchboard, and tell them who you want to talk to, and they will switch you over to their phone line. And you can either talk to a live person if a live person answers. Some of them have live people answering, or you can leave a message on the recorder. Either way, someone has to listen and deal with your opinion, and it will get categorized, it'll be logged, and it's part of a report. This causes more trouble. This really lets them know that, hey, something is stirring up out there. So take some time. I know it takes a bit to get the nerve up to make a phone call. I've made a couple of phone calls and I had to work myself up to it each time. But work yourself up to it, have your thoughts in line, and talk to them. They're very polite, they're not combative, they're not going to argue with you. Just tell them what you want them to know and they will pass it along. So do that. And of course, there is voting. November 3rd this year is the midterms. Vote, 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 vote. Get out there and make your voice heard. We have got to fix this. We are in a lot of trouble. It is making me crazy when I talk to people who have no opinion about what's going on, who have no understanding of what's going on, who say to me things like, oh, that'll never happen. It never's happened before. Why would it happen now? Because all the people who usually keep those things from happening, those people in the background that keep presidents from breaking the law, they've all been fired and replaced with people who are breaking the law. So we are in a very precarious position, and this is where we prove whether or not democracy really works. The experiment is now. It's been 250 years since we started this experiment, and we want to keep this experiment going. We are the longest democracy for a reason, because eventually we stand up and do the right thing. That time is now. So get out there, go to the protests. When the time comes, do the voting, make the phone calls. I'm going to play with my Batmobile, and you guys have a good day. By the way, if you want to see how easy it was to predict this whole situation coming on, you should read this article by John B. Alterman. He's a chair in global security and geostrategy. He wrote it 8 days after Trump backed out of the JCPOA. It's very telling.